Hi, everyone. It looks like I'm live. This is Ron Guth here, and this is your opportunity once again to pick my brain. If you're interested in anything related to numismatics, coin collecting, please put some comments in the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So here we go. Last week, I discussed some of the results of the Harry Bass coin collection sale that took place on the 5th of January. Well, just less than a week later, and I wasn't even really much aware of this, but on the 11th and the 12th, Heritage sold some other fabulous collections, including coins from Tom Bender's collection. They called it the Bender Family Collection. Also, some of Bob Simpson's coins. I think this is part 10. So they've sold a lot of his coins over the last couple of years. Also included was the typeset of U.S. half dollars put together by Jim O'Neill. Jim O'Neill has been collecting for a long time, and he's well known for some other series, including like Barber half dollars. He put together a really nice set of those. So these coins all came up on the 11th and 12th, and I really wasn't paying much attention to them until I started running the analysis of the prices realized. And there were some really fabulous coins. I think I told you last week about the Bass coins, but there were some great coins here also. In fact, 6 of the coins sold for over $1 million. And there were quite a few that sold for over 200 and over 100,000. So there's a lot of 6-figure and 7-figure coins that just came on the market. Let me look at the numbers here, and I can show you or tell you that there were 91 coins. 91 coins have sold for over $100,000 or more. That's fantastic. I mean, I remember back in 1966 when the first coin broke $100,000, and I remember when the first coin broke $1 million. And now we have coins that sell regularly for $1 million. I think there's probably over a couple hundred coins that have sold for over $1 million. And it's not unusual for coins to bring 6 figures. I mean, that's just the way the market is today. What I like to do is go through some of the prices realized and analyze them just like I did with the Bass coins last week. And I think it's some really interesting results here. The most valuable coin sold for 3.6 million. I'm going to pull these up on my computer and sort of analyze them while I'm here. This was the 1873 CC No Arrows dime. This coin is unique. It's the only one known, and it sold for $3.6 million. That's not a bad increase because this was in the Prestwick collection, and apparently they purchased it out of the Battleborn collection in 2012, where it sold for 1.88 million. So it's almost doubled in value since 2012. That's a pretty nice increase. I'm not sure who bought that. Let me see if it's in Hanson's collection yet. Nope. I don't see where Hanson bought it, but it could be that he did and he hasn't put it in his registry set yet. That is definitely a coin that he needed. The second coin sold for $3.12 million. That's also another fabulous rarity. This was the 1870s half dime. Now, this coin was discovered many, many years ago around in the 1980s, actually 1978. It was supposedly discovered in a junk box in 1978. And then it was sold by Rarcoa in 1980 for $425,000. And it's bounced around a little bit. At one point, it lost a lot of value because in 1985, it sold for $176,000. And then in 2004, it sold as part of the Jim Gray collection for $661,000. So it's been bouncing around. Bob Simpson owned it. Then it went to Tom Bender and his family. So I'm not sure what Bender might have paid for it, but Simpson paid $661,000. And between $661,000 and $3.12 million, there's a lot of space. So somebody made some really good money on that coin. The next coin is, you pardon me, I have to squint. I normally wear glasses, but because of the glare of these lights here, I'm not wearing them. The next coin was $1.8 million. $1.8 million. This was a beautiful, beautiful 1794 half dollars. If it's not the finest known, it's certainly one of the best. And it's the kind of coin that, I mean, if you appreciate early classic American coins, this coin is absolutely spectacular. It just has this wonderful look to it, and it's well struck, well centered, and it's been on the market for many, many years, and it's a well-known coin, and it's sold for $1.8 million. This coin came, and this is hard to believe. This is hard to believe. In January of 2021, Jim O'Neill purchased it out of the Bob Simpson coins that were sold by Heritage, and Jim paid $870,000 for it. 2 years later, less than 2 years later, it sold for $1.8 million. So that's a phenomenal increase, and that just goes to show the strength of early American type coins in high grade. This is what you would consider to be a trophy coin, not because it's in a particularly rare one, but it is in superb condition. Coin number 4, another coin that sold for $1.8 million. So let's see if we can figure out what that is. This was a half dollar, and this is one that Jim O'Neill, part of his collection again, and it's another coin that he made almost $1 million on. I mean, this is phenomenal. Jim bought it out of the Brent Pogue, the deep Brent Pogue catalog or auction that sold in 2015. He paid $822,500. Nothing's been done to the coin. It's in the same holder it was in at the Pogue sale. And yet today, here it is 8 years later, and it sells for $1.8 million. So that's really a great profit. Congratulations to Mr. O'Neill, mostly because he has such an eye for quality and he's willing to step up to pay for it. Now, at the time when it sold for $822,000, that was a record. It was almost double the previous price for that coin. But this is what happens when you buy trophy coins. They don't always go up in value, but sometimes you could get these huge increases. So this is a really good deal for Mr. O'Neill. Coin number 5 is a plain old 1907 $20 gold piece, high relief, Arabic numerals, small edge letters, in a PCGS Proof 68 holder. This coin is a phenomenal coin, and this came out of Bob Simpson's collection. And this has a history. It's been around since the Ed Trompeter collection in 1990s, late 1990s. And then it went to Philip Morris, who had a phenomenal collection of $20 Saints, and they actually wrote a book about his collection based on the sale that Heritage had. Mr. Morris, I'm not sure I think he bought the coin privately, so we don't know what he paid for it, but Mr. Simpson paid $920,000 for it back in 2005. So here we are now 18 years later, and it sells for $1.68 million. So that's a nice increase for Mr. Simpson. And this goes in line with pretty much anything that was purchased in that time period. Anything in the early 2000s. I mean, we've really seen some big increases in the trophy coins, of which this is one. Now we go to 2, 4, 6. This is the 6th coin. This is a perennial rarity. It's a 1797 half dollar. And this one is PCGS MS65 Plus with a CAC sticker. And this sold as part of Jim O'Neill's collection for $1.56 million. I don't have any history on this one. I don't know what Mr. O'Neill paid for it, but I would think that he made some money on it. Now, these are all, trophy coins that I've talked about now, but some of these are condition rarities. Like the next coin, it goes down to $528,000. Now, this is a big drop off from the $1 million coins. I mean, we're down almost $1 million from the previous record, just above it for the coin I just mentioned, the 1797 half dollar. Things sort of quieted down, but this is $528,000 paid for a 1909 VDB penny. But this isn't just any 1909 VDB penny. It's a Proof 66 red with a CAC sticker. It has a couple little carbon spots on it, but nothing major. I mean, this is a phenomenal coin, and this is reflective of what the matte proof Lincolns are going for nowadays. There's a couple collectors who are putting together complete sets of these, and it's a short set. There's only 09 VDB, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I think maybe a 16. So you're only talking about 8 or 9 coins. So it's a small set, but the stopper is the 1909 VDB. And in this case, whoever wanted it paid up, and they paid $528,000. Again, I don't have any history on it, so I'm not sure what Mr. Bender paid for it. This came out of the Bender family collection. And then, I suppose I ought to turn my microphone over here. Hopefully my video or my audio wasn't too poor, but I'll swing this around. Sorry, that was a minor error on my part. Then comes a coin that's sold for $480,000. This is another saint. It's a 1908S. This came out of the Bob Simpson collection, and he had a beautiful set of $20 gold pieces. It's a shame to have it broken up, but that's what happens. This one is an PCGS MS67 Plus with a CAC sticker, and this one sold for $480,000. It's a lot of money for a $20 saint, but that's what they go for nowadays. I feel like I'm a bit of a dinosaur because I remember when these things were, 10,000, 20,000, a couple thousand. But it's an extremely popular series. There's a lot of people that collect it and a lot of people that have money. It's the largest gold coin you can get, apart from the slugs, the $50 commemoratives and that sort of thing. But it's an impressive coin. And I remember back when I was first starting collecting, gold was $33 or $34 an ounce. And you could buy saints for $35 to $40. I mean, they were all over the place. And I remember holding one for the first time in my bare hand. And it's just amazing to feel the heft of the coin and how it absorbs the heat from your hand. The coin just feels warm and wonderful. And I've always been enamored with those. I never really had enough money to collect them by date, but I've owned a few as type coins and sold those over the years. But it's a beautiful series, and this one brought $480,000 for a 1908S. The next coin up, this is a gem 1875 $3 gold piece. That's a proof-only date, so pretty much everybody needs one. If you're going to collect the $3 gold pieces by date, you need an 1875, and the only way you can get it is as a proof. This was a Proof 65 decam, part of the Bender family collection, and it sold for $456,000, which is a pretty phenomenal price. I mean, it's a rare coin, but that's a very strong price for that. Now, Tom Bender, he had his collection is really spectacular. I think I said last week that I was able to meet him at the Fun Show and talk with him for a little bit about his collection. And I told him, I said, Mr. Bender, I mean, I've followed your coins. They show up all the time in my research for condition census coins because they're all, like finest known or phenomenal conditions. So um, it's not surprising to have a coin of this stature and caliber bring so much money. I don't have a history on this one here. Pedigreeing or matching up plates for any of the proof gold coins is difficult because they're generally so perfect anyway, and the quality of the pictures from, let's say, 10, 20 years ago is not that good. So it's hard to do a plate match with the old catalogs. So we really don't know their history unless you find some unusual lint mark on the coin. That's where a little thread gets struck through on the surface of the coin. If you don't see that, there's nothing to match up. It could be a toning spot or something, but in general, it's very difficult to match them up, and that's why I don't have a prior history on this coin. The next coin sold for $432,000, and this was another saint out of the Bob Simpson collection. It was an MS-67 with a CAC sticker, and this sold for $432,000. Mr. Simpson bought it out of a heritage sale in 2012 when Dr. Stephen Ducker sold his collection, and this coin at that time brought $184,000. When it sold in 2012, we all said, "Oh, wow, that's a pretty strong price." And we were all kind of amazed that it brought so much money. But here it is now selling for $432,000. I'll give you a side story on Dr. Ducker. When I was president of PCGS, Dr. Ducker, who was a doctor in Southern California, invited me to his bank to look at his collection of $20 gold pieces. And it was one of the highlights of my numismatic career because these coins were spectacular. Dr. Ducker is well known for his collection of $20 gold pieces, Barber half dollars, and in recent years, he's done, I think, Mercury dimes, Lincoln pennies, but his $20 Saint collection was phenomenal, and he took me to his bank. I got to spend a couple hours with him going through the coins, just oohing and ahhing, because he always sought out the very best quality, and he had enough money to buy them, so he had a pretty phenomenal collection. Next coin is, how come I don't have it's an 1870s silver dollar in NGC XF40. Now this coin has been bouncing around a bit. It has, since 2008, it's appeared 2, 4, 5, at least 5 times. And in 2008, it sold for $805,000, which at that time was a record. And then 7 years later, it sold in a heritage sale for $470,000. So someone lost a lot of money on that one. And then it went down even further. It went down to $434,000. In 2019, it sold for $324,000. And finally, here it is in January 2023, and it sold for $420,000. So the trend has been reversed now, and it appears that they're starting to go up. The 1870s silver dollar is an extremely rare coin. It's definitely the key to the series, and everybody needs one. So I'm happy to see that they're going back up. And XF40 is a respectable grade for an 1870s silver dollar. The next coin is also from the Bender family collection. This is an 1856 $3 gold piece in proof, 65 plus decam, which is deep cameo, and a CAC sticker. This coin, extremely rare. I mean, I think there's only a couple known. 1856 was before proof collecting really took off in America, and very few people either purchased them or had access to even be able to purchase them. So it's extremely rare, and this one is extremely nice. The history that I show on this is that it came out of the Superior coin auction in 1990. Now, I don't know if Mr. Bender was collecting back then or that's where he got the coin, but whoever it was, they paid $68,750 for it. So you can see that's been it's gone up quite dramatically in the last, what, 33 years. So it's gone from 68,000 up to $408,000. So that's a nice increase. We'll go down a couple more here and see what we have. The next coin, $372,000, and this was for, I'm sorry, it was $384,000. This is for an 1845, 2.5 in proof. And this one has also been bouncing around on the market. It's been sold 3 times since 2012. In 2012, it sold for $258,500. And that also went down in value a couple years later. In 2014, it sold for $223,250. And now it has gone up. And this is an extremely rare coin. You rarely see them. It was one of the highlights of the Trumpeter collection. And if there are, 3 to 5 known, that's it. So if you like early proof gold coins, this is right up your alley. Now we're going to get into some varieties here. This is a variety of a dime, 1796 dime in MS66 Plus with a CAC sticker. This sold for $348,000. Make that $372,000. This coin has also been knocking around a bit. It's been in auction in 2008, 2009, 2019, 20, 21, 23. And it has been, well, I guess the price trend is up and down. That's probably the best way to describe it. It sold for $299,000 back in 2008. Then it went down to $253,000 in 2009. It went back up to $293,000 in 2020 and down a little bit to $288 in 2021. And now it's up to $372 in 2023. So I'm not sure what that tells us, except that the market today is very strong. Next coin is a 1795 half dollar. This is a rarity 4 variety. It's an Overton 131 and MS64 plus CAC. It's a PCGS graded coin. And this coin sold for $348,000. Now that for a 1795 half dollar, that is a really big price. And there the buyer was paying for condition, because finding these things in high grade is very difficult. And this one is just a monster. It's got full breast feathers, which is really unusual on 1795 half dollars. Usually the eagle's breast is flat. In this case, it's just beautiful. It's got original color around the rims. Just a very beautiful coin. So that's the price of quality. If you're buying high-end coins, you really have to pony up. Next coin is an 1823 $5 gold piece. This is just a nice condition coin, MS65 CAC, PCGS graded. And this coin crossed from an NGC holder, MS65 CAC, in 2011 when it sold for $299,000. And here in 2023, it brought $336,000. So it hasn't really gone up that much in value, but so it might be a good type purchase, good value for type. What I like about this coin is it's really original looking, and it's got a couple copper spots on the front. I think I mentioned in a previous video that the copper spots are where the copper alloy has oxidized slightly, reacted with the atmosphere, and it creates a reddish color. And what I like about these is it sort of confirms that the surface is unmolested. The coin has never been cleaned, and that it's in original condition. And when we talk about original crust and that sort of thing, this is what we're talking about. This coin just has a really beautiful, glittering, fresh, original appearance. All right, now we're down to, this is the 17th coin. And this has only dropped down to $336,000. This is a $17.99 $10 gold piece, but this is an MS66 NGC. I mean, to find an early U.S. gold coin in MS66 is just unheard of. And I mean, this coin is just dazzling. It's got just a great eye appeal, and the condition is what it's all about. It sold for $336,000. I don't have any prior history on that coin, but that's a pretty good increase. I'll take us down to number 20, and then I'll talk about some other things. The next coin is a 1927 S20. Now, this is the sister of the 1927D, which is an extreme rarity and worth millions of dollars. But even this one here made this really big jump. It came out of the Norweb collection in 1988 when it sold for $29,700. That was a huge price back in 1988. And I'm sure that the people there at the auction oohed and awed, saying, oh my gosh, that's a record price for that date. Well, now, today, it's sold as part of the Simpson collection, and it brought, in an MS66 holder, it sold for $324,000. Just as a side note, in the Norweb sale, it was graded MS64. PCGS now is graded MS66. So we got a little bit of gradeflation there, and that really helped boost the price. You know, if you get these high top-end grades, you know, people will pay crazy money for them. Okay, coin number 19. This is a really nice, should I say really nice? It's a very high quality 1912 $20 gold piece in NGC Proof 68 with a star, which means that they really like the grade. They think it's a high quality coin for the grade. And that coin sold for $324,000. That's a pretty strong price. And again, whoever bought it was paying for the grade, because you can generally buy these things for less money. But over the years, the matte proof $20 Saints have really just gone up in value. Again, they are trophy coins. They are the creme de la creme of St. Gaudens coinage. And they have this really weird, unusual look to them. In my mind, it's an acquired taste. You know, matte proofs just are really unusual looking. I like them because there are some German coins that were also made as matte proofs, and there are some other world coins that are made as matte proofs. And I think they're beautiful. They have this really dullish, the silver coins have a gray finish to them that's it's very lackluster. But if you have a gem with unbroken surfaces, it just has this beautiful antique finish over the whole coin, and I just love them. So this is a gold version of a matte proof, and it's just beautiful. Okay, this is the last coin I'm going to talk about from the heritage sale of the Bender, Simpson, Prestwick, Schwenk family Jim O'Neill collection. This is another Saint. It's a 1932. Now, 1932 is well known for having a low mintage, or I should say a low population. It is considered to be a rare date in the series. They don't come up at auction very often. This one came out of the Simpson collection and sold for $312,000. Let me see if that's a record for that. Let me see here. I have this little database where I can call stuff up. So, yeah, that's a new record for that date. The previous record was 288,000 back in 2022. So just recently, a coin in a similar grade brought almost the same amount of money. So these things now, they typically used to be in the $100,000 to $150,000 range, and now they're sort of bumped up and started to do really well. Other ones have sold an MS66 Plus, which I think is the finest known. Well, no, actually, According to Jeff Garrett, my good friend, there is a MS-67 in the National Numismatic Collection at the Smithsonian Institution. And then a couple NGC 67s have sold, but that can't be right. We have a little error in my database here. Yeah, those are Washington quarters. Never mind. But we did have an MS-66 PCGS graded coin sell for $184,000, and this was one of Dr. Ducker's coins. So that's how that went. All right, we're half an hour into the chat. I've got nobody watching. Actually, I do have one watcher, but nobody's asking questions. So if you have a question, jump on there and let me know what's on your mind. One thing really shocker that came up last week or just yesterday was I got news that my friend Dave Lang, who was the research director at Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, passed away. I knew Dave, actually I've known him for many, many years, but I didn't really get to know him until I became executive director of the Numismatic Literary Guild. And at that time, we were searching for a new awards coordinator. And this is a guy who takes all the submissions for the annual award competition, and he collates everything, gets them sent out to the judges, and then gets all the ballots back, tabulates those, and arranges for the awards to be made. We give out engraved plaques every year. So this is a really big job. And Dave Lang just stepped right up and took it over. And so we had numerous conversations back and forth. He streamlined the awards process, took it down from 40 some awards down to low 40s or high 30s, just sort of cleaned it up and made it more relevant to the way things are going. The internet has changed everything, the way that people write and distribute their work. So he was instrumental in getting those changes made. And I just had a great time talking to him because first of all, he's a very smart guy. And I'll always remember his cheery face. He would man the NGC table at major coin conventions where I got to see him and talk with him. So that was always nice. Most of you know, or maybe you don't, but he was very interested in coin boards. And these are like the old Whitman albums that we used to plug our pennies into. He was also interested in any coin-related board or storage device that there was. And I mean, he searched the ends of the earth to tabulate as many as he possibly could. And he dug up some really interesting stuff, old boards, pre-Whitman, that are very obscure. Sometimes people had never heard about them. And he would write them up and put them out in a newsletter. I think it was quarterly. And even though I don't collect boards, I was fascinated by his enthusiasm for them and the write-ups. And it's hard to believe that some of these boards that are extremely rare are only worth, $100, $200. I mean, it's just hard to believe that there is an area of collecting in coins where it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Well, Dave was very instrumental in both collecting those and revealing data about those. So from that standpoint, it's sad to lose a friend like that. It's just sad. So that was a bit of a shock. And that falls on the heel of losing David Lasso. David Lasso was a famous videographer. He would go to every coin convention there was, and he would videotape items of interest. He would interview coin dealers, find out how the show was, how the market's going. He would photograph individual coins and video individual coins. And the whole body of his work is available on cointelevision.com. I think it's cointelevision.something. And it's just a tremendous body of work that he was still adding to. And I think he was taken at a young age, relatively, young age, and I'm sorry that he isn't able to continue that work because nowadays we have a lot of people doing things like this, the live streaming and YouTube channels and that sort of thing. So the old video formats are kind of going by the way of the dinosaur because it's too easy for us to take a cell phone to a coin show and do an interview or photograph coins. Whereas before, if you didn't have specialized video equipment, you were pretty much dead in the water. But David did a tremendous job, and I'm sorry to lose him. I don't know who else has passed, but it seems that as I get older, more and more of my coin dealer buddies are leaving us, and that's a shame because some of my best friends have come out of the coin industry. Again, I encourage you to ask questions. If you like the content on this channel, please be sure to subscribe. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the YouTube video algorithm, but I mean, they're killing me. I'm only getting 6 to 10 views a day, whereas before I was getting almost 200. So something's going on, and I haven't figured it out yet. So in the meantime, if you can subscribe and leave a comment or a like, that would be very helpful. And also be sure to hit the notification bell so that when I do post a new video, it'll show up in your feed so that you know that there's something for you to watch. What's coming up? The fun show is coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm sorry, not the fun show. The fun show is over. I just got a report from my friend Carl Stevens, who was at the fun show and the New York International show, which came right the same week. He said both shows were great. He had good shows at both. And unfortunately, I think there was a robbery at the New York International show from within the show. I don't have all the complete details on that, but anytime we have that, it's always, we kind of live in fear anyway, because when you travel to coin shows, that's when you're most vulnerable. You are traveling with high value and you go to a convention and you're trusting that the security there is adequate and that your materials will be protected. But in this case, they weren't. And again, once I get the details, I'll share them with you. At the ANA show in August in Chicago, one of my friends had a case full of Rolexes, and there may have been some coins in there, but it was an extremely valuable case that literally was picked up and walked out of the show. And these are the sort of things that just kind of take all the wind out of our sails and all the fun out of what we do, but it's also part of the business. I remember years ago at a fun show, there was a dramatic robbery where I think somebody pulled up and stole a set of proof coins. I think it was from 1843. They've never shown up on the market since. They're all instantly recognizable coins. But, here you are, you're trying really hard to be careful, be secure. This is not something where a guy went to a restaurant and left the coins in his trunk and the coins were popped. The trunk was popped and the coins were taken out while he's eating his hamburger. This is a brazen robbery. So, just got to remind my friends to be very careful out there and try to be as discreet as possible. And my sympathies go out to those people who lost their inventory. So, these are things that happen. The Long Beach is coming up. Long Beach Expo is coming up. That's always a good show. This time I'm not going to have a table. I'll be walking the floor on Wednesday, which is setup day, and Thursday. If you're a serious collector, I highly recommend that you get there for setup on Wednesday and pay the money to get an early bird access badge. Because by the time, if you wait till Friday or Saturday to get to the show, all the good deals are going to be gone. That doesn't mean there aren't any good deals left, but the great deals are gone and there could be some good deals left. Also on Saturday, that's the last day of the show, and typically the show is just dead. I mean, half the people leave on Friday, and it's not a good day to go to the show because nothing worse than traveling to see 600 dealers or 300 dealers, however many it is, and then half of them aren't there. So I recommend that you go early, and if you're really serious, get the early bird badge and get into the show. So that's it for today. I'm going to cut it off early because we've got no activity here, but I'll be back again next week. I'll try to give you a little bit better advance notice of the podcast, but basically it's going to be every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hopefully you'll jump on, and I'll see you then. Thank you. Goodbye.